States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to approve the September 25th, 2024 Board of Education meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sheila, second by Michael. Any discussion? Michelle?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Michael?
Aye.
Leonard?
Aye.
Sheila?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Motion carried. Any visitors? Public participation, no per board policy. This portion of the agenda is limited to 4 minutes per individual participant or group representative. This portion of the agenda is for public participation and information. Some questions from our visitors may require research, thus no answer may be available at this moment. In this case, the board will usually take the question under advisement. Any public participation?
I have a question. So I know you guys use a text message when like school's canceled or a 2-hour delay, stuff like that. Is there any way that more than one person can get it for a student? Because I get my nephews and nieces to school because their parents go to work at 5, and I was told that I couldn't get it, so I have to wait for their parents to text me, and sometimes I don't get that. So I was just wondering if there's one way to.
You have to go through the office.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other public participation? Educational highlights, Damien?
Yeah, so extra. Oh, you want me to stand up? Our extracurriculars, I haven't talked about them much recently this year, but they doing really well. Band went to the festival last 2 weeks ago. In the last couple of weeks, they got an overall 2 rating. Volleyball had a big team last night, and that went really well. Both of them got a win as well, which is nice. Football just won the league. Cross country's been improving the entire season. Quiz bowl and science Olympiad just started. Our middle school sports are wrapping up now, but they're doing really good. And so that's exciting. We got just this week, so we haven't even announced it yet. Maybe I should wait on it. But we had 3 students get national recognition awards on the SAT last year. I won't spoil who they are at this. The full protocol's out on the meeting and stuff. And just in general, like there's a lot of cool things going on here. Last week we had a really good week. This week started off, we had to make some. I was sick. A lot of people were the sickness is going around. And a lot of people stepped up in many different ways. We kind of worked together, relied on each other, and it's just a really cool place to be. As the year continues to go, it just feels like things are going fairly well right now, and probably should knock on this podium to make sure that stays that way. But no, it's exciting. So.
Can we get those 3 students to come to the board meeting next month?
Yeah, I can ask them. Yeah, absolutely.
Kate?
Thank you. So at Central, our staff is working hard on data analysis as it relates to our foundations and progress monitoring. So we're really seeing some increases. I just finished the initial scores for our growth report, and comparison from last year to this year, there wasn't a ton of slides, so that's great to see going from one school year to the next. Foundations are underway. We're using WAFL, which is a differentiated reading instruction program, as a tier 1 support. So we are doing that now, K5. So last year it was just K2, and we saw extensive growth in that. And so now we expanded it to our whole building. So that's exciting to see the growth that we're going to see out of that. And it also helps with that tiered instruction. If we have everybody doing it, we have all hands on deck. We have 2 sections of the day that is running that, and it's really neat to see all of the staff kind of come together and be able to be a part of that. So our Hill team, our high impact leadership team, meets next week in Kalamazoo. So we will have our fall summit that we will be going to. 35J grant is underway. We received that grant last year, and it was for classroom libraries is what we chose to use that money for. So right now, currently, so it happens in stages, and our teachers just received their scanners in order to start doing their personal library inventory. So it's kind of cool. They get to plug the scanner into their computer, and it's like a library. They get to scan all their books, and it literally takes the the UPC code, and it literally, you scan it and it goes into the app and it registers your book. So yeah, it's pretty slick. Chief expectations are
So
underway.
the point of that is it will categorize them and you can see
Yes.
how many books of what type you have, what you're missing, so you kind of know, yeah.
It's all about,
It's cool to have an inventory, but it's bigger than that.
it is. And there'll be more things that I'll update as the year goes on with this. It's a 2-year phase, I believe that's what we have it
Yeah,
right now.
we almost didn't do this
That's
grant,
good.
but Katie and Chelsea, our reading interventionists, I said, listen, I'm not doing this one unless you do it, and I need it within 24 hours, and they did it. And
I
so
think we had it within like 12 hours.
you surpassed the deadline, that's for sure. And it was done very, very well, so, but yeah.
And for these kids, unfortunately, a lot of the students don't have the books at home that we need to get into their hands. So I think this will also help with differentiated books too in the classroom. They don't have that opportunity at home to be able to go even to Goodwill and buy books, so.
Well, the books themselves just seem to, and that's what the world we're moving into, but at the same time, we need to still preserve some of that in the classrooms for sure, the elementary, yeah.
Our chief expectations are underway. They've been received well this year with the students. They are building wide and at all extra activities. So we have some for the cafeteria, we have them outside, we have them in the gym for assemblies. So nice to see kind of a united front there with the expectations, the whole group expectations. The new classrooms are up and running, the K1 split, the new first grade classroom and the fifth grade classroom all up and running. Working out the little kinks that we have just with, classroom changes and things like that. But today I felt that, I could see some of the students that were struggling a little bit in the initial change of classes really kind of warming up to the situation. So that was good. Third graders today received their dictionaries from the White Pigeon Action Club. Every year, the White Pigeon Action Club donates dictionaries to the third graders, and this year it was a dictionary and an animal gazetter, which was exciting to see. The cover was new and refreshed. It's not the traditional dictionary that you would see. And then tomorrow, Central is hosting the Principal Network at Central, so it's exciting. We're going to have principals from all over the county.
What time is that?
Central. Noon. Noon is when lunch starts. So.
And I have you at 8. Yeah.
You sure do.
We could maybe talk about that. Yeah, okay. I forgot about that. My apologies. Okay.
I was going to make it work. So.
Yeah, I know, but
Any questions?
no.
Any other issue?
Well, as Katie kind of alluded to, grants are in full swing, and so we not only are working on that grant and its amendment time and all of that, so, and they keep coming out with new numbers and new letters and, trying to see what's out there and new ones that, old ones that keep just like recycling, which is great. And that's nice when that happens because you're prepared for those and kind of waiting on them, so. But also I wanted just to let everyone know the Dean of Students for Central, they're interviewing 2 candidates Friday and 2 candidates on Monday. So we'll be having an update with that sooner than later, hopefully. And had quite a few applications, and so Katie and I talked, kind of saw the top 4 to interview. We have more to interview if needed, but we should have a plan of something within, a week or so. of what that's gonna be.
Or any internal, or.
There were internal candidates, yep, yep. Yep.
Any federal or state or
Just grants in full swing.
any additions or deletions?
No.
Okay, discussion items, the strategic plan.
All right, so in front of you, you have a front and back. This is nothing new to you guys, it's a strategic plan. The front page here, well, let me also, so you have two documents. You have this document, which is going to be our working document, and then this one that we're updating to make it final off of our working. So the front page part of the strategic plan really is what it says. It's the 3 to 5 year. The first time that we looked at this together since I've been here was in 2022. So really we're only beginning the 3rd year of what we have up here. That doesn't mean that any of this can't be changed, but really when we set this in stone, this is the bigger picture. And so every year, and the top portion of this is what every department and building has. So the board set this at the top to guide every department in our district. And so Central, the high school, transportation, maintenance, everybody has, they're having a football dinner, so, has this top section look the same. They're guided on your 3 to 5 year part, okay? And then if you flip it over, that section, you see how it says Board of Education? Well, every building, high school, middle school, central, transportation, maintenance, they will have their own. And within theirs, they do 1 year, as we do too, 1 year priorities and 1 year goals that we can work on that feed into the 3 to 5 year, okay? Any questions on that setup? It's been that way since we first started this, decade and a half ago, really, when we first started with the strategic plan. So, okay. So we will go ahead and start with the 3 to 5 set. We don't want to just skip over it, but we, take a look. And this was all emailed to you, not this document, but so this isn't meant to be like a full read. Should come with suggestions and thoughts that you have. So we do have that first section. That's this entire first page of anything, first page and a half, really, of any suggestions you have that might want to be updated on this. I don't see any in those. I think that they are good. I still think they're relevant still. Nothing is so complete and not relevant anymore that we would remove it, in my opinion. But that's, I feel pretty strong with that front page. Okay, so in thinking that, we can always come back to it. We'll kind of move on to the back page where really we need to look at that, which would be page 2 and 3 of what you have here. And I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of idea where we were. So the 1 year priorities, the first one we have is a marketing plan. There's been some thought of maybe updating the verbiage marketing plan to marketing and communication plan. And here's why. If you go over to the 1 year goals, first I'm gonna just do this. They're gonna be even with each other. If you go at the very bottom, it says yearly marketing outline. That should be at the top. It should line up with that. So I don't think the order of it's going to bother me. It bothers me. It needs to be at the top. So if you go into your document and you want to skip down to the bottom here, the year goal. So the yearly marketing outline, those two go together. So what have we done in the past year as a board? Because this is my work, but it's your work too, right? So what have we done just to update? We we've worked with sinking fund and bond work a lot. That's been a lot of our marketing focus. The Chief Pride still continues. That has continued, right? We worked really hard on that year one to make that part of our brand, and it has stuck. And the Facebook and social media, you know, we haven't stopped on that. That is still, we're still pushing that. Obviously, it's kind of part of who we are, part of who everybody is, really, all schools, really. And then our new website just launched earlier this week, or last week, I think. So I just want to, I'm going to try to unfreeze that if I actually can do that. And I had emailed you guys out this. I'm not sure. I don't get a lot of feedback from those, so hopefully you got it.
And I also emailed it to.
Yeah, and so this is our new website, and it really is pretty slick. And I just want to, while we're here, that, you know, a neighboring district a few miles away has a video on theirs and it has sound right off the bat. That's actually not good for mobile, and so ours does not have that. So that is one of the first questions people I ask him, and that's really one of the reasons. So if you go to the menu, it looks a little different. So district calendar, and we had Denise in here a while ago, and it was really in the test site, so it didn't look as smooth as this. If you go to the Board of Education, here's where you'll find, you know, everything in relation to you guys. And so there's that. So
What was that under?
this tab, sorry,
Okay, I see.
yeah, this tab
Okay, I got it,
over
I
here.
got it,
Sure. If you just go into that, then all this comes up. Okay.
okay. So I was looking for that. I was fine.
Yep.
Now I
And
know where it's at.
yeah, and so right here, schools, you can choose different, you know, central or the high school. Staff, departments, athletics, meals, transportation. You can still scroll down. We like the idea that there's multiple places to get to the same place, because the way your brain works might be different than mine, right? So these can easily be changed, and so one of the nice things about websites is you can see who's clicking where and how they're accessing things. And so if you see that nobody ever clicks this, we might think about, and yet they visit a different part of our website, we might think about making that one of, I don't know the term, one of those pop-ups, whatever. Denise, yeah, but she's not gonna watch that.
But then everything open easier too. That is
Yeah.
So much easier.
Yeah, I actually haven't been on it much from my phone, because I'm on it so much at school, you know, so. But good, that's good to hear. So there's all these different things. So one thing I do want to draw your attention to, it will be in the other when you go into the board. So here's the board members, and so here's Nicole. We did these pictures, these are pretty recent, and this is her bio, so we will talk about that after a little bit. But you guys have a whole section for you guys. You can get to this way or up and down. So, okay, so back to this. This is part of our marketing plan. So when we talk about the communication plan, there's been talk about how for the bond we use mailers, right? We do a good job communicating with our school family. If you're in this meeting, you probably know what's going on. If your kid goes here, more than likely, 75%, you know, we communicate with you. Like, if you don't, if your kids are gone or you don't have kids yet, are we actually doing that good of a job? Probably not. And I think the vote in May made us realize that, and so we've done a much better job. And so we used to do newsletters that went home. And they looked different from one-page front and backers to like actual booklets almost that went home. So exploring the concept of communicating with all White Pigeon community, our whole school district, not just people within it, in that way. So doing stuff like this, you know, I think about the Chief Pride little ones that we sent. But we could have mailed we could have, everybody could have gotten that. So yes, pushing out in this platform is easy, can be done. But you have to go to it, or it has to be part of.
I like the little QR codes too on the little, I think that.
I think that, so, yep, we have one on here. If you know how to use them, they're great. If not, you just scan over it, right? So we have to literally be able to reach lots of people. So we'll talk about that QR code in just a minute and where it takes you. So I like that. That's good feedback because I like it too now that I know how to do it. Because how do I use a QR code if it's on my phone? I have to be able to take a picture of it. No, you can just hold it down and it will go. My daughter taught me that because it was frustrating. See, Damien, I don't just ask you to protect it. Do you feel better? He's never made me feel dumb asking, so that's good. Okay, so anyway, back to the marketing. I'd like to change that to marketing and communication plan. I think they can be one and the same. They're a little different, but I think they can be similar. Yes. Okay. I'm going to get this because that's a check. Okay. So then, if you go to the second, did anybody have anything for the marketing? Anything else that I missed? I like to keep it running. What have we done? Anything you guys can think of?
Well, I just think that we've shown out in the community
Yes.
more this year, like Pigeon Days, open houses.
Community events. I'm going to write that down and add it to the list of things we've done. You're right. We certainly are.
Different meetings too, that you guys did.
Me and Michael went to Union and Montville.
We don't do it in school newspaper.
Within the school? No. Not yet.
So even something like that, if we ever got to that point, if there was like, if you had like a QR, like if you sent stuff out, had like a QR code that would pull maybe like the school newspaper or a link to that or something like that would be kind of cool. Yeah, that would kind of like
Yeah.
what the school's doing.
What the kids are doing.
Yes.
So the school newspaper concept is a good one, something we can explore. I feel like that class kind of has been taken over by yearbook, but that certainly doesn't mean that there couldn't be, newsletters or articles, right? Does it have to be like a whole newspaper that I traditionally think of?
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe it could be like a journalism type class. Cool. Yeah, that actually make me really cool.
We do a Chief Pride newsletter every month for
Yep.
Chief Pride. So
Is that for just your staff or is that for
just
everybody?
all students?
Yeah, it was home.
So there's an opportunity to. Okay. Anything else on that?
I think we owe a lot to marketing to the maintenance guys. though.
Yes,
I
true
know.
to that.
We
Yes.
do. The way they take care of our facilities
Yeah.
and on game days, they decorate that field. I mean, that really, you see the most likes and comments when you post something like that.
That's a great point because when I go into a game, usually it's a football game or for the band but even last night with the volleyball, you have so much pride. You walk in with your white pigeon on and everyone's looking. There isn't a stadium around that's as nice as ours. But you know it, and I hear it from people all over. And so, you're right. We do owe a lot to them too. And even we'll go as far as our custodial staff right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, they really are taking care of things. And it's where we got a good thing going there. Yep. Okay, so the next part would be the equity focus group. This would be something that I really wanted on there. It still needs to be started. I have not moved forward with that. So that certainly is still on my list to do, at least to start with juniors and seniors and talk. Damien and Brooke and I have talked a little bit about how that could look. Even just initial conversations with students about, how they feel and certain things that we've heard, going around and nothing big, just start the conversation that it's okay to talk about our differences and how do we respect each other. We do a pretty good job of that here, but we want to make sure, and do it in a more mature way, not necessarily, in the elementary, how it just be kind and be safe, respectful. Really set these kids up for when they leave here. What does it look like when we graduate? Because you're going to be working next to people, you're going to be going to school with people that are not like you. And that can be really neat. So we've talked about that a little bit. So more to come on that. That is definitely something that needs to, I really encourage us to keep on there. I hope, if not, I'm still going to do it. But I really want that on there. I think it's important for small districts to look at equity and look at those things and not shy away from those words and inclusion. Beat that?
Is there anything from our standpoint that we can do to help with that?
Well, that's a great question, and I think that once we get a group together, maybe you could come in and speak or just be a part of that, sit in on those meetings.
I would really enjoy that.
There is actually, at our Michigan tailgate, there is a couple that comes from Kalamazoo, and they're both getting their master's in social work at Michigan. But they, one of them, he does a lot of equity work with his company, and we talk about it often. And he has curriculum that they use, and I keep thinking, how could we use that in the school? And so I'd really like to explore that even a little bit more, or having him come in and just even talk. He's somebody with a little bit more experience with that, because some of those topics can be pretty sensitive, or you can really just kind of blubber through it. But I think just opening conversations just is a start. And it doesn't, I don't know that we're not inclusive, really, but why can't we can start having conversations, and I think it's okay. So yeah, I think that maybe being a part of the discussions.
That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next is the social emotional learning curriculum for K-12, and so that would be the first one on your right-hand side. So K-12 wellness screener panorama has been implemented. If you have a child here, you've probably heard of that. We do that 3 times a year. What that does is it gives us perception data from students and staff, and then it will give us the leads our trails lessons that we do, and kind of gives us a dipstick on what it is we need to work on, what we're doing better, are we up and down, up and down. We're getting better at using that data. Certainly, the more times our kids use Panorama and our staff, the more comfortable they are with the question, the length of the questions, really what does it mean? Oh, I can be honest, nobody's really gonna, right, yeah. So I feel that this year our data will be even more honest, more accurate. And so that has been implemented, we're gonna continue with that. Also, we've added, 2 positions in the district. You guys have approved that, and we have Kendra over here and Sarah Hope over at the elementary. So those 2 are additional staff members to help with that goal there. So, anything else anybody can think of that I'm maybe missing, or? I'd like to see some more assemblies. I think getting speakers in front of our kids' assemblies, we'll call it speakers, it's probably the newer word. Speakers in front of our kids. So they're not just hearing it from us. They see that there's other people outside that, and I encourage that to try to really, some of the speakers we had when I was in school, I still remember. Yeah. They can really be impactful. So I'd like to see us, do that. I think that can tie to a couple of these different things for sure, the equity and the social emotional, learning. So
I think that's a great idea.
yeah.
I used to, when I was in school where we were at, we had a leadership program that we all went to LBN college and it was a big group. And we'd go into these different classes and just have speakers. And
Yeah.
it was, like, there's a lot of like those moments that I can think back like, oh, such a really good point. And hearing it from somebody that you're not used to, you know, your teachers, you get comfortable and you're, oh yeah, you're just saying it, but when you have somebody that is from the
Yeah.
outside saying the same thing, it kind of clicks a little bit more sometimes, I think.
Yeah, and it validates the people
Yes.
that are around you,
Yeah,
yeah.
my teacher's not crazy that she's telling me this,
Right.
she's telling me the same thing.
The other thing that, in this building too, for the social emotional learning, is the ELJ team, that was started last year, bringing Chief Pride over here, trying to not recreate, but do some things that like Central has done over there too, and bringing them over this way, and looking at culture and all of that. So that is more about the whole child. So that is something too that I just thought of that ties into that work. So,
Our Hill program, one of our
Yeah.
focus areas is SEL as well.
yep, good, no. Recruitment and retention plan, that is the last one on here. It would be the third one on your list over there, that will be evened out. So currently, Talent Together, we have 3 active long-term subs in our district that are part of the Talent Together network, who are in a program to get their teaching certificates. And so 3 active long-term subs, and then we have 1 paraprofessional that is in that program. So 4 total in our district. We certainly welcome more. We don't admit them, or I'm sure I would have more. We support them. So when they apply, we put our stamp of approval on that person and say, yes, we are, here to support them in their growth and all of that. So we definitely have a few others that are interested in looking at that, and we're going to need that, when we look at finding an ESL teacher. There's not that many out there, English as second language teachers. So when we look to find that, because we're going to need a full-time teacher at some point, or we need it now, but at some point I'll come to you and ask you for that. But will we find someone certified in that? Hopefully, it's the goal, but they also have to be a good fit. And so if not, do we have someone that wants to get certified in it? Because if we do, hey, well, we're going to work with it. And there's a number of other ways. I'm starting to explore outside of just Talent Together. There's a number of initiatives throughout the state to get teachers certified. And so this just happened to be the one that our ISD was really going towards. And so since it was a new concept, we all went with that. And it still is, but it's been about 2 years now, and so there's a lot of opportunity out there for teachers and people who want to be teachers, and for us to support them. So the retention piece, so part of that recruitment piece and retention, we also want to try to recruit certified young teachers, and I'm trying to figure out ways in which we can do that and stand apart here at White Pigeon. A lot of that costs money to do that. So we have to start exploring a little bit of that and see what is feasible, and then how to keep them. So open to ideas and all
Can you
that.
give examples of what kind of things there are to do, like what?
Well, you have seen in bigger school districts, it was in Grand Rapids, and huge signing bonuses, right? Or relocating, those types of things. Some of this stuff isn't going to be real feasible. However, there are different, childcare things that I have heard of to help. Just the other day, I heard of that. It's try something where an employer pays a third, they pay a third, and the subsidy pays a third of childcare. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's even something feasible for us, but we should look into that, you know?
With bus drivers, we gave out a signing bonus and paid for their schooling and,
Yeah.
you know, so we did that too.
Yeah. And if we do that again, we'll have them sign a contract that if they leave, they will owe us money back. Yeah. We learned that, so, but that's all right, that's a side note. Live and learn. So those are some of the things, Michelle, that I have just literally recently heard of. You know,
And creative ways to
yeah, bring people to this school for the, you know, you look at, one of the things I see, I know I talk about the ISD because that's kind of just the bigger, so not just ours, but, you know, they look for speech therapists, they look for school psychologists, and they put on there that they have work from home days.
Oh.
You can't be a teacher and do that, right? But the newer generation wants that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that looks like for teachers in the future, but they have work-life balance. The younger and that's not a bad thing, it's just different. And we have to recognize that work-life balance is, they will demand that and they will move until they get it.
We definitely see that at our work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Would you ever go back?
would never go back.
Right.
See, I definitely like the combination, but that flexibility of having these appointments here, and I have to drive into the office on these days. The thing that I notice we're struggling with in our company is we have kind of older management at the top, and you have this younger generation coming in, and they want you there, and the younger generation, in order for us to compete, you have to move with the way
Yes.
it's going.
Yes, and you know, Connie's been quiet. Though we were on a field trip one time, and her and I are sitting there talking with some of our younger teachers, and you know, it was kind of the first time it was like an aha, because to me, like, you're loyal, you know, you're all in. All in just looks different. It doesn't mean you're not all in. I've learned from them myself, and I feel like I have more balance. All in doesn't necessarily mean you have to run ragged, right? Because then when you're running, nobody wants to run next to you because you look ragged, you are ragged. So you need to really have that balance. And it looks different, and sometimes people move on, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong, it just means they want to move on. But we have to find that work-life balance, and so how do we do that with teachers and you know, our education staff, our parapros? I don't know, because you have to be here. So we have to find ways where it feels good to still be here.
When we talk about mental
Yes,
health for our students, right?
yes,
We also need mental health
yeah,
health for our teachers too, right? And you have to
Yeah.
have that balance in order to feel good about what you're doing.
yeah. And I think education is different. It does look different. Well, education in the local, like we are. Education here at the ISDs, they can do stuff like that. For some, because if you work in a program, you have to be there every day. So it is hard. So we have to explore and be creative. It's exciting though to try to think about some of those things, but yeah, you have to think outside the box. There's no doubt. Anybody else have, one of the other things, you know, here's what we know. They pay raises for our teaching staff. They've received 12% over the last 3 years. That's huge. That's huge. But it doesn't necessarily keep the younger generation out. They don't always work for money. Yeah.
Well, we can't compete with Sturgis and Three Rivers.
Well, we-
We're trying to.
Well, 3 Rivers we do. So one of the things when we talk about all of that, when we get into it, you know, our pay scale from the top, or the, you know, the new team, I'd say the top, it's not, it's the young, you know, the first few years, it's the top of piece of paper to, you know, more experienced. You know, when you get to the middle of ours, that's where that's our strength. And so you will see that middle of the road come, and, you know, a lot of times they don't wanna leave, but, yeah, so we have to look into all of that, but that's something that we've done, you guys have done and improved. You know, that first, we didn't, you know, have to even offer that, and we've done that these days, so. Definitely, I think needs to be on there. I don't see a lot of changes in these one-year goals. Just continue, you know. I might try to work something up with, you know, the staff. I don't wanna say mental health, but wellness, staff wellness,
Mental
like maybe
wellness.
somehow add that in there. I think it could and should be a priority. We're seeing it all the time, you know. What does that look like, you know, staff wellness? Does anybody have any objection to me looking into wordsmithing something for a priority and a goal with that, and then bringing it to you guys?
I think it should be for students and staff.
Staff wellness. Well,
We already have a student, isn't that kind of emotional?
and I think honoring staff maybe separately might be important to them. I think it shows priority for us, you know?
Right, 'cause I think we always focused on the students, right? That's always a priority. And, but we have to show that priority to them too, because without great teachers, our students aren't gonna be happy.
Yeah. And just, you know, I'm not sure
Or
where we
staff members.
go with that. What's
Very
that?
good staff members.
Yeah, staff
It
wellness.
goes from teachers.
Yeah, all
down to
staff.
students.
Oh, for sure, yeah, yep. Okay. All right. So, next would be opportunities and challenges. Any feedback from anyone there? I almost think that the limited opportunities for trade enrollment is not necessarily a challenge anymore. I actually feel that, along with dual enrollment, is an opportunity that we are exploring even more. So I personally would like to remove that as a challenge and move it over to an opportunity. And I think passing bond and sinking funds as opportunities, we could have that on there, but, you know, yeah, we can leave it. I think through marketing and enrollment and all those other things, those things will happen, but.
Well, that's a success, really, that's.
And what? Add it out.
Yeah, enrollment and challenges, but it's correct on the other page, it's just on this.
This is a copy and paste to.
And down in the last sentence.
I'm not following, I'm sorry.
Right here. That's Mr.
Oh.
Enrollment.
Okay.
But it's just on the
Yeah.
sheet.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're not, this is just for you guys, it's not
Yeah.
out there. Is it correct on
Yes,
this?
yes, it's correct on there.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't type that. I typed that.
Well, I can't spell.
This is not in the public, that is. I know better. Okay, anyway.
I would say take out the passage of bond and sinking funds and opportunities, but leave it in success.
Cause it's down there. Yeah.
Because marketing, and that would be an indicator of success.
So you're gonna move limited opportunities, trades enrollment to opportunities?
Yeah, and wordsmith it to be, you know, I'll probably pick Damien's brain on that, like dual enrollment and CTE opportunities or something of that. Those are huge opportunities that we're both committed to.
And EMC.
And EMC, yeah, like all of that.
Why are there limited opportunities?
I don't know why that's on there.
Okay.
There's not anymore, that's kind of my point.
Oh,
I,
okay.
that's why I don't want it to, I want it to be on there.
There's plenty of opportunities out there, it's just getting students.
Right, just,
Sign up
because
for
we have.
Which we are now, that's the
We
thing.
used to have the least enrollment in CTE
Okay.
out of the whole county.
Okay.
So that's why we put it on there.
Got it.
It's just kids don't want to participate in it.
But now they are.
Right.
Or we're,
And ENC and dual enrollment, so it's not just CTE or what we have. It looks different,
Right,
there's more for sure.
right. We just need to get that information to the kids.
You know, we're even gonna explore AP classes here, and what does that look like? What would it make, does it make sense versus dual enrollment in some classes? I think that there's one that I do think it does. So, you know, I really like, and we have some teachers that are willing to go, and we can send them to add that into their certification, so they're certified to do that. Do we have any staff members that can be adjunct professors for Glen Oaks and be dual enrollment teachers here? You know, we have looked at that stuff before, but, you know, just because they're not available one year doesn't mean they can't, maybe they've gotten their masters. We do have a couple that have, so can we offer dual enrollment classes here? You know, as opposed to just online, because if they're getting that. So all of that stuff, I know, I keep pointing at Damien because it's one of the things that I've been just impressed. He's really open-minded about that and has a lot of experience because Bronson has done a lot of that. So we're tapping in. We're not, you know, we're going to tap into that experience and really try to change a little bit of that for our high school, especially juniors and seniors, and offer as much as we can.
Well, it is, what kind of opportunities does that open for our teachers too, right?
Well, absolutely, yes, and maybe that's part of the retention and all of that. They're excited. You ask teachers, hey, do you want to maybe teach an AP course? Yes, they want that. You're not in education right now out of happenstance. You're choosing to be here. And so to be respected and say, hey, we think you really could do that. Have you ever thought about being an adjunct professor? We would support that. What do you need to, what can we do to help with that? So, yeah.
Especially if you're here and you want to be here.
Yeah.
And you want growth and you're trying to figure out how you can
Yeah.
grow, and that
Yeah.
would be a way to do it.
Yeah. So I think those are opportunities.
How does the district to the north of us, they have a welding?
So that's
That's through a
through,
college, but
yeah.
is there any trade classes that we could offer like that here?
And Centerville also has some, they have ag and different things,
Service machining program.
So
Yeah.
bring it over here. I mean,
well, we had to find a place for it and the equipment.
Well, we used to have the auto shop and the wood shop when I was
yeah, no,
all
yeah.
those years ago.
Yeah.
And now they're used for other things.
So there is, I believe there's opportunity for, they have a new, well, it's not new, but, I suppose it's newer than that. A New Teachers Academy, and so, we do have kids that are enrolled in that, and they are coming here to, it's through CTE, and that's expanding. I'm on that committee with the ISD too, and it's expanding, and they are, you know, sometimes graduating with, you know, certificates to be either paraprofessionals or work at the, you know, at the ISD in certain levels. Because if you're in our building, you have to have an associate's because we're a Title I building, so it's a little different. But, you know,
It would probably
Yeah.
be a higher rate of insurance cost.
Well, think about it though, we were talking about what we used to think as a CT program, right?
Yeah.
Like, technology, like there's a lot of other areas
yeah.
that don't look like what we used to think it looked like, what it could be now, that could be housed here.
one of the things that I have heard that is really, actually planning told me this. It is, see, don't you love how I just everything? Drone flying, right? Is that the certificates for flying drones and that? And maybe looking at that as a CTE thing. Hey, we lost space maybe that could be here, you know, it'd be.
I think there's opportunities.
Have
Yeah.
you seen one of those ag drones that does the tank and sprays the field?
No.
Yeah,
Wow.
instead of,
There's a lot
The
more to this
airplane?
than-
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty good
There you
size
go.
drone.
Well, so you're right, there, I think there's opportunity, and when we talk,
Maybe
it's,
someday we build a new bus garage, we don't care to plant that down.
and then there's that.
So, so, I guess I'm naive, so I went to Christian over in Alpha, and they had auto body, audio,
Yeah.
electronics, all these
Sure.
programs. I thought this county
We do.
had,
Yeah.
They do.
We don't have a career center per se.
right, but he was talking about welding and concrete.
Yes.
I thought welding was a
It is,
opportunity in the county.
it is.
It's just not
It's-
here.
Howard did
All
in
the
their
kids
district.
go
You
there.
want
It's
to
housed
some
in
of
their
the
district, but
kids
they
here.
don't, but they don't fund it. We had CTE here, housed in our district too, it was building houses.
Yeah.
And it was not exactly, all shiny and roses, because they have to pay the salary, they have to hire the person, it's just at our facility. And as you may or may not recall, I'm sure you do, so I mean, it's not their program, welding is not Tyson's
I
program.
know, but
Neither
it's
is,
still there.
the cuisine.
Right.
It's there, but they
That's
don't
pretty
run
cool.
it.
I hats off to them.
Yeah,
You're saying like opportunities to get
In
people
district,
here and to see,
right.
Right, but if you're gonna open it up to the county kids, it's gonna be ran by the county.
Right.
Well,
Not by us.
there's a tooling company out of Three Rivers, and they have a program for juniors and seniors over there. It's a part of Lennox College, or what,
Yeah.
goes on over there. But they go to that tool and die plant and learn about tool and die.
Yeah, because they do have a work thing also, beyond CTE, dual enrollment, EMC, Teachers Academy,
Yeah, so what I hear is that we'd be interested in
Postage.
posting something. Yeah, I hear that, okay.
I think the more people you get here.
Yeah, hey, I'm all about that, absolutely.
Well,
We're
I-
hosting the district volleyball here in a few weeks too, so that's bringing everybody here. More than likely, fingers crossed, we'll have a home football,
I
playoff
like,
game.
I like for the Teachers Academy, because Peyton's in it, and they do 2 days, in service, Monday and Tuesday, and then they're at their home schools for the rest of the week. And for them to work with the staff and the students
Yeah.
in their home school is rewarding for them, and they can, put it all
I
together.
think that's a pretty cool program.
So like the opportunity, back to that, would be just offering different learning environments here. And that means some different things for different kids. It really does. And the thing that I've said a lot, I have a senior, I have a sophomore in college. Kids today know that it doesn't have to look like it looked when I went to school. As a matter of fact, if it looks that way, they are not engaged. Because they're connected with people all over. So it's not the same. So we have to provide those opportunities. And we have them here to provide, we really do. We really do. And for those of you that have younger kids that will someday go on those college visits, the thing that they say, they know that a white pigeon can't offer, what, an Ann Arbor Pioneer can offer. But did the kid here maximize everything that we have to offer? That's what they want to know. And so that is what I think we need to do a better job of really saying, what can we offer, and are we making sure that you're maximizing what we offer? If we do dual enrollment, are you doing it? You need to. But are we really encouraging that as much as we maybe should? We're going to. And the CTE opportunities, the EMC stuff, are you, at all these universities we've been to, they say that. They know white pigeon's not the same, but are you maximizing everything that they offered you?
Because that tells the drive in that child.
That's right.
But they shouldn't also have to sacrifice one thing for another,
Yeah.
Music for academic,
No.
Do you feel like we do a good job kid, these are your opportunities, and trying to find that path for each kid. I know that's a perfect world, but like, I'm sure that's our focus, but do you think we do a good job of that?
I think there's room for growth in that.
You know, what,
Conversations we have a couple times a week.
We have plans to do.
We do.
that.
We do.
Because that's like, I think about like just like you said, every kid is gonna look different, but if we go into the idea that our goal at the end of their 12th grade is that they have a path of where they're going, whatever that looks like, right?
Yeah.
They have a path that we set them in that direction.
Well, and I think it's really important that we incorporate parents in those decisions too. Because sometimes what a 16-year-old daughter of mine wanted for herself is not what she's going to do. Not because she wouldn't be good at that, but if she wants that experience, she can have it with her father over the summer. We're not doing that during school for her. So it's important that we get parents involved in those decisions. Because, you know, they said they're kids, they're still kids, they're not adults. So,
They think they are.
so there's room, they do.
They should
yeah.
have some say.
Yeah.
Their
Well,
opinion matters.
it's kind of like a three-legged stool, right? Like, you have to have, in order for that stool to stand, the student has to be involved, the school has to be involved, and the parents
Yes.
have to be involved. It's the only way it
Yes.
stays steady.
Luke is out there, is he? And Jaden.
Today we're doing quiz bowl.
Oh, sorry, okay. Anyway, okay, so, opportunities. There's room for growth in that, Michelle, and it is something that we talk about often. So, in an exciting way, right? Yeah,
For sure.
a move forward way.
So if we just got done talking about, why don't we put as an opportunity, something about,
Expanding dual enrollment.
Or
it's no,
curricular opportunities, or,
I think that's it.
you know, really incorporating all of it. I'll wordsmith it. And we'll bring it in November, bring all this back. I'll email it out to you guys so you have time to look at it, so it's a little quicker then. Okay. And if you see anything on here that you think after taking it home, just shoot me an email, call me, whatever. Okay. Anything else on this? Okay.
anybody else have anything on that? Okay. Moving on to,
Okay, real quick, I promise, everybody received this in the mail. This also went to, this was in Montville, it was in Union. Every person in our school district received this, okay? So, and it actually has the same information that's on the fan favorite flyer. It's just the top part's on this side and the bottom part's on that side.
How many addresses was that? For everybody in the school district?
I would have to ask Michelle,
Okay.
yeah.
Is it 1,000, is it 2,000?
Yeah.
4,000.
1,000, okay.
Yeah. Quick action print and Sturgis does it, and then Michelle divided them out. So
we also handed them out, during the homecoming football game.
Yep.
Michelle, handed out, put stacks of flyers in Union all over.
There's a couple more places I'm gonna hit, I still have some. So, if there's any other places you think of.
And then we went to the Union and Montville meetings. We did White Pigeon Days, open house, both open houses. It's been on the website, on
It's
Facebook.
been, both principals emailed this home. It also went home with the elementary kids. We didn't send this home with middle school, high school, because it would be a waste of your funds. So, but that, and we continue to do more pushes. What I want to bring you to is this too. This is something new that we added, because the feedback was, I want to remind everyone, this passed here in White Pigeon, okay? But we needed to get more voters to the polls here in White Pigeon. And we were the only thing on the ballot. What we didn't do was really let people know, one, that there was a vote, and what it was really about. And so, when you get to our new website, one of the things you will do, and you will see the QR code, everything on Facebook now is gonna take you back to this, that you have, I also have some up there too for the audience members, is a question and answer. So Denise and I scour other people's websites a lot, and we saw a neighboring district have something like this similar, and we thought that's a really good idea. And so we kind of tailored it to this. So if you go to district, and I thought there was a bond, our district. So if you go to our district, right up top here, you see November Q&A. So we have our own spot here on the website. And everything will take you back to this. So this, we're trying to, if you want information, it's there. The last thing I ever want anyone to do is say we're trying to hide something, or that, because we're absolutely not. But I could see if we're not out there saying here, or even having it available, it can look that way. That is not our goal. So this is some of the information that we have. I gave this to you for you to have as well, so you can keep it with you. In case people have questions, you can refer back to the webpage. You can talk to them about it here. So I just wanted to show you, these are some of the things that we've done this time. They're a little different. We talked about voter lists. So we have voter lists. This doesn't have phone numbers. So Nicole and Michael and I were talking about this. And one of the things we think we can do, because connecting with people is where it's at, right? So if I say on November 5th, I'm going to commit to connecting with, whether that's calling, whether that's texting, 15 to 20 people that I know, and say, hey, just a reminder, did you vote? Now, most people are probably going to vote in this November election. But just reminding them, right? Say, hey, did you have any questions about the school bond? I'm willing to answer them before. What we want people to do is to vote informed. And so, is there any questions that you have? Do you have a question? You're not looking at me, you're looking over me. Okay, sorry.
Did you copy this right off the website, because there's a spelling mistake?
No, it's correct on the website.
Okay.
This was from a working document.
Okay.
So this was from a working document.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Never mind.
It's correct on there.
Yeah. Good deal. I did not type this up. I will own every one of those that I do, but I did not type this
There's
up.
also a quick link on the main page for it's November 5th
So on
ballot.
the district page?
Yep, so if you go to the home
Okay.
and you go all the way down to the bottom,
That was mental brain.
yeah, right there,
So see, we want, is that a link though?
you gotta go view all news, and then it explains it.
So multiple ways to get there.
Yeah.
Okay? Any questions?
Just do it.
So, back to the call list. What we're asking you, can you all commit to connecting with 15 to 20 people on November 5th, asking them? I think if we did that, and if you could maybe find 2 people that would be willing to do that as well.
Well, if you just send out a text message to your people that you're gonna connect with, be like, hey, have you voted? Do you have any questions? Can you contact
That's what I was thinking.
a couple more people? So then if you have 20 people contacting at least 5 more people, that's plenty right there.
But I will take a step and I will go across, I will walk down my street to every house and knock on doors.
Okay?
How much do we obligate?
Will you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Okay. Well, we can do it.
You know your areas, you know your community, right?
Assume.
And so there are other people that know that in their area, nobody wants them knocking on your door, but maybe out where you guys are, maybe that is the key. So if you feel that that's what you need to do in your area, do it. We support that. I think it definitely needs to be really authentic to where you are. Cody, did you have something?
No, I'm just with those two.
Yeah,
You're
there's
with that.
area.
Got it, yes.
But, and keep a reminder that absentee ballots are already out, so,
Yeah.
and some have already been returned, you know?
Still, even if we get a
Right.
handful that, oh shoot, I didn't know about that, now, oh,
And the other nice thing is that the ballot language is on this, and so, that is one thing I did not, and we also put this at the bottom, but, in the May election, I realized lots of people had questions on the ballot language, and people actually read the ballot language. And for
sometimes
me,
it's not
I just know
clear.
what it says because we did it, and but people really think that's important, so we putting that out there. It's not a surprise. So, I think we've done a good job, you know, and we set out the goals we set, and Nicole kind of led us to after our May, vote. I think we've all rallied and have really done that, so.
Next year, we gotta hit the operating millage. That's what keeps the doors open. Anything else on the bottom? Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. A motion by Michelle, second by Jennifer, any discussion? Gifts, page 7, Michael?
We've got a bunch of gifts, and they're all in memory of John and Pat Sullivan. Donna Lambert, donated $50. Martha Lincoln donated $300. Marvin and Julie Schneider donated $100. Michelle and Dennis Schusman donated $100. Diane Hoffman donated $100 as well.
Andy? Jennifer? Aye. Michael?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Leonard?
Aye.
Sheila?
Aye.
Myself, aye, motion carried. We don't have any action items, announcements and comments. The next meeting of the Board of Education will be held Wednesday, November 13th at 6 p.m. in this room. The other section is going away after this meeting. It will be maybe called Board President, Superintendent, announcements, but you have at least 24 hours to give me anything that you have to say in the other comments. And then I will mention them during that section, so that we can review what you want to be said. Do you have anything else on that? Okay. Also, please, email Shelley or Denise your bio, for the website, since it is updated. I know Sheila doesn't have one on there. Try not to use dates, that way we don't have to update them all the time.
So that is the one, like, pro tip when you do bios, you know, your kids, we mentioned them, but if you say that they're a third grader, well, then the next, before you know it, they're gonna be a fourth or fifth grader.
I made that mistake and Luke,
So me too.
Luke, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
so my bio has been updated, Nicole's has been, mine is directly related to the strategic plan. It's a little less personal and more about that work. So it's certainly, we're just kind of shifting a little bit, and there's lots of tools out there that can help also write nice bios, and or at least give you a start. And I certainly am willing to help with any of that. So I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So if you want some help with that, or even want me to throw something out there, throw it back at you, see what you think, I'm willing to do that.
I also encourage each and every one of you to go through on the website and read our board bylaws. January, February, we will be doing a class during a meeting on governance and what it is to be a board member. that's gonna help with new board members that are gonna be on the board or us as a whole board. But being aware of the bylaws that the board has, is a very good thing. I don't know if I've ever had you guys do that before, but Leonard, you're almost done.
Is that the one that we took, like,
You guys did the first class, but this is,
No, I'm open to anything that I can work on, I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
just wondered if it was the same or if it was in addition to something.
It's kind of like in addition to, and then I encourage each of you, when we have county school board meetings, to show up. There is interesting topics that are relevant. I'm on the board at the ISD, for the county school board meetings, and I take issues over there to be heard at the meetings. So it is good information for all of us. So we have another one in February. Do you have any other? Okay, I adjourn the meeting.
These things, every month I get so much, I get refreshed. This place runs so much better than where I came from.
20 flyers.